Hey there, fellow history buffs. Imagine a world where the theory of relativity was never discovered. I mean, think about it. No Einstein? We might still be debating whether time travel is possible, stuck trying to understand the universe with only the physics knowledge of the 19th century. Can you picture that? No E = mc squared plastered on science textbooks or inspiring nerdy discussions at coffee shops. What if I told you that the absence of one man could reshape our understanding of science, technology, and even culture as we know it? Yep, today we're diving deep into a mind-blowing alternate history scenario. What if Albert Einstein never existed? So let's set the stage. Albert Einstein was born in the late 19th century, March 14, 1879 to be exact, in the lovely city of Ulm, Germany. Now, this guy was not your typical scientist, and that's putting it lightly. With his wild hair and quirky personality, he turned theoretical physics upside down. Just imagine him as a kid, a slow starter in school, but possessing an insatiable curiosity about the world around him. In fact, there's a legend that one of his teachers told him he would never amount to anything. Just goes to show that sometimes the world's greatest minds don't fit the mold. And let's talk about the impact he made. Einstein deuced revolutionary ideas like the concept that mass and energy are interchangeable, famously summed up in his equation E = mc squared. Seriously, this single equation is like the rock star of physics. It's been quoted, referenced, and tattooed on more than one science geek's arm, I bet. It's almost as if he opened a door to the universe, allowing us to question the fundamental nature of reality itself. Einstein's work laid the groundwork for modern physics and changed how we understand gravity, time, and space. His theories paved the way for technologies like GPS, nuclear energy, and even modern electronics. But let's have some fun and think about it. What happens if Einstein just, poof, he never existed? Suddenly, we're not just missing a groundbreaking scientist, we're missing the entire framework of the 20th century scientific revolution. And that's where our journey begins. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and let's explore this alternate reality together. All right, let's dive into what would happen right after Einstein's theoretical contributions never make it into the world's consciousness. So first off, let's look at the immediate impact of Einstein's absence on the scientific community. I mean, we can all agree that he was a giant in the field, right? The early 1900s was an explosive time for science, with fresh ideas popping up everywhere. Without Einstein's groundbreaking theories, key developments in theoretical physics could have been either delayed or altered completely. Let's start with the theory of relativity itself. In 1905, Einstein gave birth to special relativity, shaking hands with the notion that time and space are not absolute. They're intertwined and can warp depending on speed and gravity. Without that, physicists like Hendrik Lorentz and Henri Poincaré, who were already on the right track but didn't quite connect the dots, might not have had the push they needed to further their research into what we now consider fundamental physics. So what happens? We might have seen a slower progression in understanding the universe around us. Imagine for a moment if instead of a unified theory of space and time, we were left with a hodgepodge of outdated Newtonian physics. That's like trying to navigate the cosmos with a flip phone instead of a smartphone. We could have seen the rise of other theoreticians, like Max Planck or Niels Bohr, taking the lead, but their theories would be addressing a universe governed by a different set of rules. And here's the kicker. Without Einstein's groundbreaking work, there's a solid chance we wouldn't even have nuclear physics coming to the fore in the early 20th century. Think about the implications. The atomic bomb, for instance, was pushed into the realm of possibility by Einstein's theories, which ultimately led to the Manhattan Project. Without him, the timeline of nuclear weapons development could be drastically different. We could still be in an era of conventional warfare, or far worse. Who knows what could have happened if other nations ramped up their arms races without the fear of nuclear fallout hanging over them? Now, looking into the realm of cosmology, let's imagine how stargazing would change. With no Einstein to guide those cosmic theories, we might still be clinging to Aristotelian ideas about the universe being static and unchanging. So instead of diving into a world of expanding galaxies, we'd be pondering the same old questions about the heavens, with nothing but paper and ink for our calculations. It's wild to think how one person's theories could have propelled humanity to explore legends of black holes and other phenomena that are now a part of our everyday conversations. In fact, without the understanding that black holes could exist, imagine the frustration of astronomers. They might still be scratching their heads over what's happening in the vastness of space, perhaps theorizing about cosmic whirlpools, but lacking any substantial evidence or mathematical backing. And hey, if the Hubble Space Telescope was never sent into orbit to capture those breathtaking images of the cosmos, how many people would be left in the dark, unable to marvel at the awe of the universe? Moreover, let's think about the cultural and philosophical implications of Einstein's absence. Without his theories challenging the very fabric of reality, wouldn't our literature, art, and even our societal philosophies suffer significantly? Writers and philosophers like Virginia Woolf or James Joyce drew inspiration from the fluidity of time, influenced by Einstein's theories. Without those ideas in circulation, would the modernist movement in literature even exist, pushing boundaries of narrative and structure as it did? Now here's where it gets really interesting. Fast forward to the mid-20th century. By this time, the repercussions of Einstein's absence are starting to ripple through the scientific community like a stone tossed into a still pond. Without relativity, the path of advancements in physics and technology could look like a completely different ballgame. One major area affected would have been the development of quantum mechanics. Quantum theory itself got a massive turbo boost thanks to Einstein's contributions. He wasn't just about relativity, he also dropped knowledge bombs with his work on the photoelectric effect, which helped establish quantum theory. Without him, it's possible that the critical understanding of light as both a particle and a wave would be delayed, maybe even beyond the 20th century landscape of science. Imagine, instead of rapid advancements in technology, resulting in smartphones and supercomputers, we might be living without the advancements in quantum computing. Can you picture a world without the internet? That's right, I said it. Quantum computers have the potential to process data at lightning speeds, and they are gradually becoming a part of our everyday devices. Without Einstein's foundational work, research in this area might still be in its infancy, and innovation in technology would be moving at a snail's pace. In fact, we might still be figuring out how to make computers smaller than the size of a room. Can you picture yourself pulling out a desktop computer the size of a house just to access your emails? And don't even get me started on space exploration. Without a solid grasp of theories concerning gravity and light, we might still be waiting on the sidelines while the rest of the universe zooms by us. NASA's moon landings, Mars rovers, and even the Hubble Space Telescope could be seriously delayed or let's be real, completely non-existent. We might have never caught that first glimpse of the universe beyond our atmosphere. I mean, who would have thought your nightly stargazing would be replaced by, well, I don't know, watching clouds on a lazy Sunday? In the realm of social sciences, too, the turmoil of the mid-20th century would see different ramifications. Without the scientific advancements brought about by Einstein's theories, we might see less of a push for civil rights movements. These movements often leveraged scientific discourse to challenge prejudiced ideologies. With a scientific landscape that hinders progress, society could still be grappling with these age-old concepts of racial inequality and social justice, not to mention any socialist or communist movements potentially gaining ground without the robust discourse of modern science countering their philosophies. To paint a clearer picture, think about the political climate in the absence of scientific advancements. The Civil Rights Act may not have had the same scientific backing when it came to arguing against segregation. Arguments for equality would have to rely more heavily on morality and less on empirical data. Instead of scientific knowledge shaping the discourse, public opinion and anecdotal evidence might dominate discussions, leading to a far less progressive society. Additionally, we might find movements like feminism and environmentalism stunted, as scientific knowledge generally empowers people to recognize the need for equality and sustainability. Now let's take it even further, long-term implications. As we hit the late 20th century and into the 21st century, the absence of Einstein's ideas starts to play out in significant, sometimes jaw-dropping ways. Without Einstein's monumental influence on theoretical physics, the very fabric of international relations could begin to unravel. Take the Cold War, for instance. The arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union was largely fueled by the fear and power dynamics associated with nuclear weapons. Without Einstein's contributions to nuclear physics, we could see a drastically different global political structure. It's entirely possible that nations would not be as armed with nuclear capabilities, leading to a less paranoid world with potentially fewer proxy wars. In fact, the dialogues around peace treaties and disarmament might shift from being about nuclear weapons to conventional weaponry debates, a sort of who can outgun who scenario. Think about how relationships among world powers could veer into more regional conflicts rather than global strategies of deterrence. Countries might engage in skirmishes over natural resources or land, leading to a world where nationalist sentiments run high, and international collaboration on issues like climate change would be nearly non-existent. Furthermore, the dynamics of global politics could shift in such a way that instead of striving for scientific cooperation across boundaries, we would be faced with rising tensions fueled by competition. Non-state actors and organizations might gain more power as well, exploiting the absence of international treaties that might have otherwise arisen from Einstein's influence on peace negotiations and scientific diplomacy. Now consider the broader philosophy and ethics that emerged from Einstein's theories. Concepts of time and space challenged not only scientists but philosophers and even artists. If Einstein had never existed, we might see the same exploration of existentialism in literature and art stunted. Imagine a world devoid of the deep philosophical inquiries that have shaped writers like Kafka or artists like Salvador Dalí. What if we were instead left with a sense of complacency regarding human achievement? Now let's shift gears a little. What would happen to education and culture in this alternate reality? Without Einstein, the very way we educate future generations could look entirely different. Science curricula would likely remain stagnant, offering only basic physics and no insight into modern theories. Imagine kids in school being taught physics mainly from a Newtonian perspective, missing out on the magic of modern physics. They might be asking questions like, wait, so we're not traveling through time and space? I can hear the groans of young minds everywhere. Education wouldn't inspire the same level of curiosity about the cosmos, and those awe-inspiring moments of discovery would be traded for rote memorization of facts instead. Instead of passionately debating Schrödinger's cat thought experiment, students might find themselves studying diagrams of forces and motion in classic textbook fashion, treating science like an ancient text waiting to be cracked open, rather than a living, breathing discussion of the universe. And what about pop culture? Einstein was not just a scientist, he became a symbol of genius. Without his contributions, pop culture might lack that celebrity scientist vibe, meaning fewer movies, books, or songs revering science. We might not even have the Neil deGrasse Tysons or the Bill Nyes of the world inspiring us with their passion for science. Instead, think of a world where The Big Bang Theory is a show about a group of confused roommates trying to figure out how to play poker. Picture a movie landscape without Interstellar or Contact, films that hinge on complex scientific concepts. Imagine the uproar among film buffs and science enthusiasts who have grown to love exploration-themed movies. What if we were still stuck in a cinematic time loop, endlessly rehashing rom-coms without that intriguing angle of cosmic wonder? Talk about a bummer. In literature, authors like Isaac Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke flourished with narratives that thrived on Einsteinian principles, pushing the boundaries of science and imagination. Would we instead find ourselves reading dry historical accounts rather than thrilling explorations of the future? Of course, we should discuss the ripple effects of Einstein's absence in terms of gender equality and representation in science. His presence in a field historically dominated by men played a crucial role in inspiring women scientists. Women like Lise Meitner, who contributed to the understanding of nuclear fission, might still face barriers if Einstein's achievements didn't light a path for them to follow. The discussions around the representation of women in STEM would struggle without the scientific landscape shaped by Einstein's legacy, leaving countless young female scientists without role models. What if we end up in a world where a few prominent names overshadow everything, the Einsteins and the Newtons, but the unsung heroes remain cloaked in shadows? So let's fast forward to the year 2025 in this alternate timeline. Picture it. Instead of high-tech gadgets like smartphones capable of astronomical calculations, we're perhaps still using analog devices, maybe flip phones with actual keys. Can you imagine fumbling with a phone that doesn't even have a touchscreen? What if social media wasn't dominated by instantaneous information sharing, but was instead a slower-moving beast? Platforms might exist, but they would be more akin to forums where people post long-form essays rather than quick tweets or reels. The speed of sharing knowledge and the ensuing discussions could potentially suffer as well. And what about our understanding of climate change? Because seriously, without Einstein's theories to buttress the scientific community's understanding of energy and physics, climate science would face tremendous hurdles. The discussions around renewable energy sources like solar and wind might not even be taking center stage. Instead, we might still be heavily reliant on fossil fuels while struggling to understand the urgency around climate action. Without a scientific framework, could we also face an outright rejection of scientific evidence? A world grappling with misinformation without a solid scientific foundation could lead to a paradox where the absence of Einstein results in society struggling to address critical issues. Imagine a world where anti-science movements thrive simply because there's no established discourse grounded in robust scientific evidence. It's a terrifying thought. Culturally, while we might be celebrating music festivals the same way we do now, we probably wouldn't see the same level of scientific literacy filtering into songs, art, and literature. Imagine a world where kids grow up without catchy tunes about black holes or the mystery of the universe. In politics, we'd possibly see less progressive movements surrounding science and ethics. The conversation about vaccinations, for instance, might not be grounded in robust scientific understanding, leading to an entirely different public health landscape. Can you imagine a world grappling with misinformation without a solid scientific foundation? The current debates about vaccines might look like an even hotter mess than they already are. So, there you have it. A world without Albert Einstein would be incredibly different. Honestly, it's mind-boggling to think how the absence of a single individual could ripple throughout history and culture. We'd be living in a reality that's less innovative, less curious, and perhaps more fearful of the unknown. It's wild to think about how much one person's ideas have shaped our world. But what do you think? Would we be stuck in a cosmic void without him, or do you think humanity would find its way no matter what? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you all think. And before you go, let me know who you'd like us to erase from history next. I'm thinking of doing something wild, maybe even starting with someone a little less mainstream. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating alternate history journeys. Until next time, keep questioning everything, and who knows what history will rewrite together. Hey there, fellow history buffs. Imagine a world where the theory of relativity was never discovered. I mean, think about it. No Einstein? We might still be debating whether time travel is possible, stuck trying to understand the universe with only the physics knowledge of the 19th century. Can you picture that? No E = mc² plastered on science textbooks or inspiring nerdy discussions at coffee shops. What if I told you that the absence of one man could reshape our understanding of science, technology, and even culture as we know it? Yep, today we're diving deep into a mind-blowing alternate history scenario. What if Albert Einstein never existed? So let's set the stage. Albert Einstein was born in the late 19th century, March 14, 1879 to be exact, in the lovely